We're going to start our study session. We're missing a couple, but so be it. We're going to get started.
You might want to call him, Michelle. We do have Commissioner Dees.
Okay, item 8, that is ready. Councilor Bay.
Thank you, Madam President. Item number 9. If there are no additional questions or concerns, I'll call that item ready.
Thank you. Councilor Rudd.
Thank you, Madam President. I have items 10 and 11. They're ready.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Green.
Thank you, Madam President. I guess before we get into my items, I know there's been a lot of talk about the snow response from the storm, so I just wanted to give a chance for DPW to kind of go through where we fell short and what our plan is for future storms.
Good afternoon, councilors.
Good afternoon.
How you doing? Appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to speak with you guys today. I know it was trying times over the weekend for you and your constituents, as well as myself and the mayor and my staff. We experienced the same thing. A lot of frustrations with the residents and the snow and the removal. I encouraged them when they actually called down the DPW to have some patience with me, as this was a significant amount of snow that fell over Friday. It was about 8 inches, and Friday morning, I believe 6 in 1 hour. It was more than we anticipated. And saying that, I'm not making any excuses. Obviously, we all got to get better down at DPW as a whole. But I just wanted to give you a little background on why we fell short, or not excuses, but enlighten you on the operation of the night shift and the shift change. November 18th, that's today, we go into a night shift operation where we go to two shifts. When the snow fell on the 15th, a couple days ago on Friday, we're still operating in a one-shift operation. That caused a lot of manpower constraints for us. Obviously, before we get to two-shift operation, a lot of our guys we allow them to take vacation to prepare for the upcoming night shift, to get their sleep patterns, to adjust it to night shift, as well as just spend some time with their family, because they know when snow hits, they're going to be working around the clock. So we had some manpower constraints fighting the snow. But we were able to corral maybe a third of our workforce to try to get the plows out. So normally on the normal snow and ice, we have about 58 night shift employees, 49 day shift employees, so over 100 employees total fighting the snow in a normal operation. On Friday, we had 39. Working around the clock, some working 16 hours, some working, coming back home, getting a bite to eat, and coming right back in. So that was definitely a different change, especially with the nor'easter that we had on Friday. So next steps, obviously we're going to get better with GPS as far as the side streets concerned. I know I got a lot of calls with side streets. GPS is going to be implemented, I believe.
The mapping is set to launch early next month.
Early next month. So that'd be something that residents can look online and see if we actually went down your street, and give them a better understanding of what goes on down at DPW. I know the communication needs to get better. That's on us. Obviously, we should better communication would have stopped some of these calls that you guys had this weekend, as well as calls down to DPW, as well as calls into the news. But I guarantee we will get better. Obviously, saying that we haven't been in the snow and ice division yet, that's going to be better with manpower. Obviously, we have constraints with trucks because we're still picking up leaves. But and all in all, we're going to get better. That's all I can say.
question for you, Jeremy. When is the normal switchover? When is the normal changeover?
Normal changeovers around this time. Like I said, we normally switch over around the middle of November. November 15-ish, 18-ish. We normally switch over then.
Okay, and then as far as the manpower, I knew at some point that there was a lack of, for folks wouldn't come in. Is that still the case?
I wouldn't say that's the case. I believe that the snow hit at a time that we didn't anticipate. Obviously, these guys get vacation, and we want them to use it, and they used it right before snow and ice commenced on today, on Monday. So a lot of people were out, and calling them in off of vacation, we're not forcing them to come in. We asked them to come in. Some guys did, some guys didn't. So it wasn't a manpower.
But outside of vacation, I'm hearing that's kind of a norm. Are we doing anything to address that?
Currently, we are doing things to address that. We're going to.
We could have brought the mic to you.
That's okay. I mean, there are always issues getting staff in, but I think a lot of the work that that Commissioner Robinson has done to make sure that the vehicles are up and running, because I know that's often a frustration for the drivers, that they come in and the vehicles are not ready to roll. But Commissioner Robinson has been working with our fleet management operations to make sure that vehicles are ready and people are ready to go. But I don't believe that poses a significant risk of people not coming in when they're scheduled to.
Yeah, I don't think that's not a problem.
I have a couple of questions. I'm not going to drag this out. You have been through a lot. I know you worked really hard, and it was a really tough storm. As far as manpower, are we able to pull from any other departments, or parks employees, or any other departments within the DPW for plowers when we're short-staffed?
Yeah, that's what we do. I mean, if we have drivers in street repair, sewers, or any other department, we try to pull from those. I don't think it was a...
Did we do that?
Yes, we did. It wasn't a manpower issue. It was more of if we have 40 more people, we still need trucks to put those guys in, and we didn't have it crossed over. Our trucks weren't converted over for snow and ice.
So all of our trucks were on the road the whole time then?
The trucks
we didn't have trucks sitting without drivers.
No.
We weren't like waiting for a driver for trucks. So the manpower was tight, but we maximized our potential at that time.
Those 39 people weren't just in snow and ice. They were people that were in all over. So we pull from every department.
Okay. So my other question was, I didn't see many of the parks trucks. Sometimes when we have big storms, I'll see parks trucks sort of leaving the park and doing some side streets, and they'll plow the pickup trucks that they have in the parks. Sometimes I've seen them leave the park and plow some streets on the side streets during storms. And was that happening, or was that something we can do?
I guess.
I mean, I know the parks were plowed, and
we were also dealing with a shortage of staff, but this storm we didn't get a phone call, but we do help anytime Jeremy calls and gives us a phone call, and we coordinate with one of his team members to see exactly where we can help out. We're always willing to help, but he does the roads, but we have just as much of importance of opening community centers and senior centers, so our staff work diligently to get that done. But whenever we do get the phone call, we've never said no.
Oh no, yeah. I hadn't seen that. Usually I see the trucks, and I just hadn't seen anybody at this particular storm. So.
And so we're at what happened, and then there's what are we going to do, because it is going to snow again and it's going to be heavy. So part of the truck and the personnel issue, now that we're switching over, we have had conversations about. So I've asked specifically about, depending on the equipment at the Parks Department, how many of those trucks can actually put a blade down on city streets? So when we debrief, that is part of what we're going to be talking about as well, and then being able to call from the other departments with those heavier big rigs. I'm going to lead into something else that I know the commissioner. The other issue that we're having is mechanics. Our wages aren't as competitive as other municipalities, including the school district. And so we are in desperate need of people who will sign on and become mechanics for DPW. Fire is having the same issue. Water is having the same issue. Yes, big time.
Wow.
But they have to be able to work on big rigs.
And before you sit down, I'm
Yep.
gonna let Khalid go, but can I ask you a question?
Yep.
Because I thought during the course of this, we said fire would be able to issue tickets, because I got a call about a block where the fire truck couldn't get through the block because they were on both sides of the street, the
Right.
snow was piled up.
Right.
Is fire issuing tickets or no?
I cannot answer that without the fire chief right here, but I will find out for you. Okay.
I just had one last question, then I'll wrap my questions up. When we know there's a storm coming like this.
Can you hold on for a second?
Oh, yeah.
Answer that.
That's all right.
see
Lieutenant
that.
Yevon with the fire department. Well, we do not issue tickets.
As the commissioner of DPW who gave the power to issue tickets.
Okay, can I ask why? Because you have the authority to give them the power to.
No, he has the authority to write tickets.
Right.
Yeah.
So generally, if the fire apparatus is out and there's a street that's not passable, we'll notify fire control and have fire control contact the police dispatch and notify the police.
All right.
Okay, so I'll just real quick finish this question. I got this question from the community quite a bit, and I really don't know the answer, so I'm going to pass it along. When we know there's a storm coming like this, and we obviously could see that our manpower was probably going to be a problem and that our trucks weren't going to be ready to do a complete job that we needed, do we have any relationship with the county or any outside towns or villages or anybody who we
do.
can call?
They're in the same boat as we are. I mean, I called down to Marty Voss, who's in charge of the county. We speak with talk with the state all the time. I mean, they're in the same boat as we are. I mean, I'm obviously, I think they did a segment on the news talking about they were in a hiring shortage of.
Well, the county, I was driving around in the county, and their streets were all clear in the neighborhoods, at least Onondaga Hill, Camillus, in that area. I was actually driving around during the storm at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The roads were all clear, and so I think their plow drivers were home when I was driving around there. So I don't know is it because their plow drivers were they had to go home at a certain hour and weren't able to come and help us? Or there union restrictions to their?
I couldn't answer that. I reached out for help and
they did not help us.
They were in the same boat as us. They said, we're in the same boat as you guys.
When you say the same boat, do you mean the same driving situation or the heavy mechanic situation?
No, I'm talking about drivers.
Okay.
Drivers.
Let me jump in here for a second.
Okay.
You know, and call me strange, with all due respect. We're in Syracuse, man. We get more snow than anybody in this country.
Correct.
I didn't think that was a storm. That was a normal snow day to me. You know, we had at least 3 of those last year, easy. So I actually want to commend you on the work, because from where I saw, the streets was plowed pretty quickly. You know, and now that doesn't say that there aren't complaints, because we get complaints every year about side streets because it's tough. We understand that. But I think, you know, there has to be some kind of appreciation for the fact that we haven't figured out the snow issue yet. You know, and I don't think we'll figure it out by tomorrow. You know, but I at least want to express my appreciation for the effort, you know, on the part of the administration and everybody to get the snow done.
Appreciate
you know, it was 8 inches. Seemed more like 6 to me. You know, and that's just a person that's from here, that's been here our entire lives. We've seen snowstorms. You know, I don't even know if that was a legitimate snow day the other day. It used to have to be 14 below with that kind of snow for us to not go to school. You know, so I mean, you know, I just want to kind of bring us back to kind of remind us to where we are. That's what it does here. It snows. You know, and we'll get better at it. I think it requires these conversations, but it's a little interesting when, you know, what, again, to me, I'm speaking for me, qualified as our usual snowfall, seemed like it was some kind of avalanche of sorts that we couldn't control, we couldn't handle.
Well, I agree with you.
With all due respect.
If it happened a week earlier, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I mean, a week later, we wouldn't be having this conversation. It just happened at a time that it caught us, you know, at a time we were on just one shift.
Could I ask Deputy Mayor Owens something? Okay.
Yes. The issue wasn't the snowfall. No, that was a snow day in Syracuse. The issue was the transition from one season to the other. Yes, sir.
So you brought up the structural problem that we're having with mechanics.
Yes.
Do we have any plan to resolve that? I mean, how do we, I know we're always, in this city, we're always figuring out how to do more with less regards to resources and funding, but
yeah,
if that's a habitual problem that's preventing us from utilizing manpower and resources that are there, it seems that that's a smart spending of money if we can figure out.
Completely. So, and I'm going to move out of the way, but absolutely looking at the compensation we have right now.
She's throwing hips.
Yeah, throwing belly.
Compensation where we have right now for our mechanics. I mean, quite frankly, residency is an issue, but it's what it is. And then other options for potentially looking at other ways to get people in when we have emergency, when we need to make massive changes really quickly, as far as equipment preparation.
Do you guys have an ad now for mechanics? Do you have anything out that we could share?
Yeah, we have them up on Indeed and other job sites, and we've been working with personnel and the union that represents most of the mechanics to try and figure out a way to address the pay issue and to also incentivize more training so that our mechanics are better equipped and are expanding their skill set, and there's some upward mobility for them. Long term, we're obviously trying to get some homegrown talent, we've had meetings with OCC and ITC to try and see if we can get some folks, rather than trying to get people to move into the city, how about some of the people that already live here and are already taking classes in mechanics? So there's a couple different approaches that we're going to make, but it is true compared to the school district, Centro, Onondaga County, our pay is not competitive as it is right now.
So heavy mechanics been an issue for 5 years, trying to keep heavy mechanics. So are we gonna try to increase their pay, or what do we?
That's what we're exploring with both the personnel and labor relations and the union. We just had a meeting, I think last week or the week before, to talk about how do we address the pay issue while trying to, because there are some labor implications through people who are all in that grade. You can't just give mechanics a raise. How do we try and incentivize additional training and maybe provide compensation for that additional training so that we can help not only raise the pay of the mechanics to attract and retain more, but also get more for our money by having them have these additional certifications.
Do we know what the difference is between the private sector and what they're paying versus what we're paying?
I mean, we did research for mainly the public sector, and I'd be happy to share those numbers with you if it would be helpful to see what the gap is between us and the school district, for example. But I mean, I know, privately, FedEx or UPS or other places that have large trucks, I don't know that we're able to be competitive with those industries. But at least on the public sector, I want us to be competitive.
Can I just ask?
Last one.
The way I understand the transition of seasons is the trucks we use to collect the leaves are the same trucks that we put the plows on, that we drive around and move the snow, and people expect that the snow gets removed in a timely manner, and they also expect that we remove the leaves in a timely manner. And I assume we haven't gotten all the leaves and they're buried under the snow. True. So, does this create a dilemma for us going forward? How do we get, and people will also expect the leaves to get collected, so how are we going to get the leaves and be ready for the next snowstorm, which seems a challenge at the moment?
That is a challenge, and that's where we got to balance the two. That's why all the trucks aren't converted over to snow and ice. I mean, we got to balance that with the help of Deputy Commissioner here, sorry, Ann Fordock. We're gonna tackle that. She's in constant communication with our superintendent, trying to get balance that. But again, that snowstorm or lack of snowstorm, with Councilor Bay said it wasn't a storm, but that snowfall there caught us a little bit off guard.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner.
Oh.
Item 12, any questions on that one?
This one has to be held until the sale goes through, and we have to have a public hearing on the sale, so it can't not be moved.
Okay. Any questions on it for now? Item 13, any questions on that one? Okay. Item 14. Okay. And then, so item 14 and 15 are companion. Item 16 and 17. Councilor Driscoll.
Yeah, I personally would like to discuss a possible committee meeting before we pass these. I would just like to know if I could hear from the administration their thoughts on it. I would just like to. I realize that we're all eager to move forward with this program. I think everyone on the council supports the effort tremendously, but I think it would just be good to have some more details on such a large capital spend. For instance, I'd be very curious to make sure we have details about how many poles we're buying. Have we ensured that we're not buying poles that no longer function? Some questions like that, just to get some more details around this one. If holding it up would be a massive detriment, I'd be willing to entertain that, but personally I'd like to hear some more details on such a large spend before we do it.
I'll find out about the timing of this and to see whether it'd be any kind of major issue if we held it to have a committee meeting.
Okay.
I'll find that out for you between now and.
Yeah, I personally would just like, I don't know how the other councilors feel, but personally I'd like to have a council meeting on it before to see how we're going to spend this $15 million and make sure that we've done our due diligence and hear all about it before we spend, if that's all right with everyone.
Okay, thank you, Madam President.
Oh, okay, thank you. Councilor Carney, he's taking his items.
I'll take his item. My name is Councilor Carney, and I have items 18 to 24. Did anybody have any questions on the donations?
No.
All right. 21. That's anybody questions on the dog stuff?
Nope.
Okay. 22. Garden stuff. Greenhouse. Okay. 23. Mountain View Ranch for Barnett Parks. Horse-drawn carriage.
Stuff, huh?
And then 24. Payment to Landmark Theater for the movie.
Thank you. Councilor Boyle.
Thank you, Madam President. I have item number 25, which is ready. And item number 26, which is the request to remove the license for snow contractors. I know that we've had a lot of conversation about this, and most of my colleagues and I agree that this ordinance has so many flaws in it and things that need to be changed in it that it should be removed. I think that despite that, I think I'm going to hold it because I was speaking with our clerk and some people about what the I don't feel like licensing is necessarily a bad thing. It's just that the license needs to benefit the community. So I think that the options would be to completely remove this ordinance and then immediately start rewriting a new ordinance, a correct ordinance and a more effective, comprehensive ordinance. Or we could sit down with the red pen and just completely tear this ordinance apart and leave it on the books as is. And thank you, John Kapanis. I think you pointed out to me that removing it and then replacing it may be too confusing to the public. So I agree that that could be the case if we remove the license requirement and then rewrite and reinstate, or a new license requirement with a completely different structure. It could be pretty confusing. So, but I am not going to withdraw it. I'm going to hold it because I feel I want to have this done by our next meeting. And I want to, we are in the middle of snow season right now, and if we can't make these changes in 2 weeks, which I think we can, I don't think it's right to keep this on the books with people coming and paying money for licenses for an ordinance that we're probably going to be completely changing down the road. So I don't want people paying into something that is going to see so much so much change. So if we can't sort it out in 2 weeks, I'll probably bring it back up for a vote and take it from there, but I think we can. So that is going to be held.
Thank you. Counselor Allen.
Thank you. I have items 27 through 59. Items 27, 28, 29, and 30 are all ready. 31 will be held for a public hearing on Monday, December 3rd. And for items 32 through 59, I'm going to just go in order to eliminate the confusion. So when I get to one of your items, if it's in your district, you can let me know if you want to hold it or if it's ready. With the exception of Councilor Carney, since he isn't here, I'm going to hold all of his in District 1. So number 32 is held. Number 33 was withdrawn. Number 34?
Held.
Held. 35?
Held.
36 is held. 37 is withdrawn. 38 is held. 39 is held. 40, we'll hold that. 41?
Held.
42?
Held.
43?
Held.
44 will hold. And 45 will hold. 46?
Held.
47 will hold. 48 will hold.
49 is fine.
49 is ready? Okay. 50 will hold. 51 will hold. 42 hold. 43?
53.
53?
Held.
Okay. 54?
Held. Is that you, Sue? You're gonna hold?
Yep, 54.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, held.
Okay. I'll hold 55.
56 is held.
56 is held. 57 I'll hold. 58 is ready.
59 is ready.
59 is ready. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. And Counselor Green.
Thank you, Madam President. Any further questions on item number 60? Thank you. It's ready.
Thank you. And with that, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.